Hello, this is the conference. I'm Wabuzenjoko. In our first edition, I made you a promise that we are going to make it noisy with facts, conversational in the debate. But wherever the facts lead us, there we head. And we promised you that each edition of this program will be a collector's item. We keep to that. That is our word, and that remains our bond. Let me welcome you to this edition of the program, and this is where media eggheads engage issues in the polity, not from any partisan perspective, because we are no politicians, but from the thoughts of the people, the feelings of the people, the experience of the people, and we bring our perspective so that sometimes you make conclusions, at other times we leave you to conclude. For this edition, on my right, last time I didn't get all the names properly, but this edition I will try very much to get the names properly and also to get the designations right. On my right is Alpha Jagdeen. Alpha Jagdeen is a media consultant. Media consultant is a word used, is a title now used for those who have retired. Jagdeen, are you tired?
I'm not tired, and I'm not retired.
You won't be tired.
Such an intro can only come from a veteran like you. Thank you so much for
Jagdeen, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
And on my left is Dr. Obinna Nwachukwu, Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief of Montage Africa Media Limited. Doc, you're welcome.
Welcome, sir. Thank you for another opportunity of being here.
Let me also thank our viewers and those who have started making comments on the few editions that have gone out. Thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you for encouragement. We will not disappoint you. Now,
I think I need a handshake too.
Please,
I didn't get one.
Not to worry. That handshakes, that the plateau is cold. Where you're coming from.
Yes.
So sometimes let's rub it together.
Thank you so much.
Now, also this morning I'm going to begin with Alpha Jagdeen. But what are we looking at? The Efcc chairman has raised the alarm. Has he raised the alarm? No. He has made a plea. He's asking the National Assembly to please pass the bill on unexplained wealth. One morning, a young man wakes up and has 1 billion naira in his account. The other morning, a legislator wakes up and has 10 billion in his account. Or a minister's friend wakes up and has $500 million, oh my God, in his account. How did you come about the money? Online on Sunday, I was watching a video of a young 15-year-old young man who bought himself a Mercedes-Benz car, 15-year-old, and he said he has some thousands of dollars in his account. 15 years, Mercedes-Benz, thousands of dollars. In the course of this conversation, I'm going to tell you a story. But for now, Jagdeen, has Ulukayede, the EFCC chairman, has he good reason to be asking the National Assembly to pass a bill on unexplained wealth?
Basically, corruption is multifaceted. You and I know that we live in a country where that largely is our bane. Nigeria, I can assure you, will become the Sinojo of the world the very day the people understand the nuances and the pain that corruption has brought us. Talking about the EFCC chairman, if you look at what is going on, the commission was established to prevent, to investigate, and to prosecute economic and financial crimes. Now, if it gets to a stage where you have to plead, or you probably have to lobby the National Assembly to pass a bill, looking at instances where unexplained wealth should be explained, it leaves a lot to be desired. I can assure you that bill may never see the light of day. Why? Because those who are responsible for seeing that legislative action takes place will make sure it does not see the light of day. Unexplained wealth in Nigeria is an issue that I can assure you, if we begin to start talking about it, we may talk about it for the next 50 years. And why is that the case? Because we wallow in shame. If you look at what is going on, the moral burden is no longer what it used to be. Once upon a time, I'll give you a short story. About 40 years ago, my parents asked me to go and get bread in the morning. On my way, my father bought me a bicycle. I saw a 50 kobo note on the ground. I picked it. I brought it home. I hid it. For 3 days, I lost my peace. Because my fear was, if my mom were to come
and chance
on that 50 kobo note,
you are done.
I'm done.
You are in for it.
So you know what I did? To get my peace, I took back that 50 kobo to where I found it,
and
dropped it, and I came back home. My mom, up till today, unless she runs into this program, she never would have known that happened. That was the kind of parenting we had. Back in those days, if you look at how far flung we've gone, you will realize that issues of civic responsibility on the part of parents, on the part of the clergy, on the part of society, on the part of community, have gone on holiday. Once upon a time, who are you to come home, even as a university student, with a new shoe without explaining to your parents how you came about it? But today, society has gotten to a stage where, as you did mention, a 15-year-old can say, I bought myself a Mercedes Benz. I'm afraid we need to truly start thinking, we need to truly retrospect, we need to truly start looking at where we missed it. We all know where we've missed it, because at some point, those in power glamorized and literally legitimized corruption. If you don't have, nobody has happenstances with you.
Jacqueline, wait, please. Just a few days ago, I was dancing to a beautiful song. If you no get money, hide your face.
That's the issue.
Yes, Doc. If you don't have money, you need to hide your face. And why is Olukayede trying to make trouble? Listen, they say those who are poor are those who are always quarreling about the wealthy. If you don't have money, won't you hide your face?
Thank you, Chief. Once more, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I think the Efcc chairman is doing his best, but I have my doubts. First of all, I think I support what Alpha said.
You have your doubts.
Yes. My doubt is, like he said, I don't see that bill being passed by the National Assembly. And if we may recall, this is not the first time. That bill was presented
in the last National Assembly.
The Ninth Assembly, and it was killed. It has been represented in this 10th Assembly, and they're already in their second reading. By next year will be politics. Already it has started. And like he said, they say he who lives in glass house does not throw stone. So how do you expect the National Assembly members to throw stone when they are living in a glass house? And if we may even ask ourselves, who even in the National Assembly, maybe Senate for example, how many of them in that chamber today are not facing one corruption case or the other, including the leadership? How many? And what are they being charged for? The same
unexplained wealth.
I mean, so you expect me to enact a law that will incriminate me? It's not possible. Then also, it's also very pathetic that the current administration has never, to date, made mention of corruption. Tell me, in all the speeches rendered by Mr. President, where you heard him say, we will fight corruption to a standstill. I'm not imputing anything, but then
that is
the signal must be there. The political will is not there. But in terms of law, I don't think the EFCC needs a new law to get people arrested, to get people arraigned, to get people imprisoned, they have more than enough laws. That is the money laundering law. Now, this thing is talking about unexplained wealth, more or less, it's part of the money laundering. If you have more than what you're supposed to have, that's money laundering. We have the cyber crime law. We have the Efcc Act itself. That is the Anti-Corruption Act by ICPC. Then there is the one that is even more important, particularly for government officials, the Code of Conduct. Because under the Code of Conduct, you are expected to declare all your assets and even liabilities. And when you're talking about wealth is an asset. If you are taking up government office and you declare your assets, does EFCC need another law to say that? Like I heard where he said that somebody worked for 20 years, that they can calculate how much he earned and compare it to what he had. That is code of conduct. You see, the problem we have in this country, we have multiplicity and duplicity of laws. To that sometimes the people who are implementing it become
confused themselves. And
that's why you see in the High Court, in the Supreme Court, sometimes they give what they call conflicting judgments, because you see some of those things related to each other. We don't need laws. What we need is strong institutions. If we have strong institutions, it will not be there. If we have strong institutions, there will be no duplication of contracts. If we have strong institutions, there will not be issue of using cronies or proxies. We had a minister here, former Minister of Transport, that wanted to award some people contract to surveillance over the rail line to Kaduna. And we were told that the company he was recommending was registered 2 months or 3 months earlier. And the directors are a family member. Even though that contract was terminated, what happened? That minister today is loquaciously going everywhere talking. And what is here? We have people that have been facing corruption cases for the past 10 years, 15 years. What has EFCC done? We even have the one of recently the former governor of Kogi State. He's moving about freely.
The laughable.
So EFCC has not even
utilized the laws available to it.
And they're looking for more laws. Why not use the ones you have first? You know, like they said in the Bible, the parable. The man gave this one
the talent.
So the talents. First of all, justify the one given to you before asking for more. Because if you have not justified it, I don't see why they're asking for more. And like I said, that one they're asking for, even if it is passed by the National Assembly, it may not be signed into law by the executive. I stand to be corrected.
And I go with everything Doc has said. If we are to try to look at these things from a prism, what is actually unexplained wealth? Is it what is coded? Is it what is known? I was talking to a few experts a few months ago, and they told me that there is more money. Let's use money now, because money here is the issue.
Yeah.
Wealth is a different thing. Money here is the issue. There is more money out there in the informal sector
than
what the system has captured. Yeah. You can say today Elon Musk is worth 400 billion, but somebody told me just yesterday that, my brother, there are traders that are worth a lot much more than that. And this is the second time I'm hearing this in less than 4 months. It goes to tell you that it's something that should be investigated. It's something that should be thought through. The bottom line is that as multifaceted as corruption is, how do you determine in good conscience what you call unexplained wealth? Is it the house? Is it the car? Is it the clothing? Is it the bank account? Anything that is captured, anything that is within the system, I can assure you to a large extent, no matter how poorly the person is in thought, he will come up with a story that he can cover it. Hardly do you see people who got money from nowhere take it into the system. At best, they may build 1 or 2 good houses, drive 1 or 2 cars. We live in a country today where government officials are seen to be driven in Rolls-Royce cars. Your average Rolls-Royce Phantom will cost you nothing less than $500 million naira. And you are in office. And there you are being driven around as if you're royalty. You're supposed to be there serving the people. But there you are brazenly serving yourself. We also live in a country where we will wake up one day and they will trace close to 600 duplexes to one person. Now, let us ask ourselves these salient questions. Where did that wealth come from? We are not seeing the industries. There is so much unemployment out there. But here we are seeing one person. This estate's coming up around the FCT. What is the source? Money laundering, as you said. There is somebody stealing something somewhere. Once upon a time, when the military government decided to come on certain caliber of persons, drug peddlers most especially, what do? They export drugs, they buy exotic cars and come and sell
in Nigeria,
hiding under the prism of, okay, no, this is not, that's the whole idea. So Olukayode wants to be seen to be doing something. You know, as a government official, okay, there's an event, I need to go. We have had so much from government officials, but there are certain things that just won't work. The late President Yaradua, in good conscience, called for the expungement of the immunity clause in the Constitution. I was there the day he said that. But you and I know that things like that will hardly see the light of day. If we are today, just as Doug said, we don't need to waste time talking about what he has already enumerated. It just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense that anybody will promulgate a law that he knows will come back and put him in jail someday.
Yeah, but Doc.
Yeah, Chief.
Yes.
During Obasanjo regime, he made a comment.
Obasanjo made.
Yes. He said that about 80% of the choice buildings in Abuja were owned by civil servants. Efcc chairman was there that day, whether it's current or past. How many of those civil servants have been arrested? So they have more than enough. I think what he's just doing is just a populist posture.
Apart from populism,
yeah, it's
gentlemen,
populist posture.
Apart from populism,
which can you tell me, except maybe those that are could be said are political enemies or political opponents, which case has EFCC successfully prosecuted? Successfully, except those that are perceived as political enemies, they go all out for them. It's not like the kidnapping. If you kidnap a commissioner of police today,
the police will come after you.
Not after you. What I mean, within that day or 2 days,
they'll bring him out.
They will bring him out. But let them kidnap you and I. Then there will be stories. So you see, when they want to walk, they walk, and when they don't want, we remember the incident that happened at 1004 flats in Lagos. That they raided the place and funds were recovered. What are those funds?
Nothing has been heard of it since then.
What are those funds? There are many other instances. Like we're saying, he who lives in glass house does not do.
Doesn't need to haul bricks.
Are you with me? And they say charity starts at home. So let's start from, if we have strong institutions, if they have political will, if the leadership, starting from the executive. Today, you cannot even, before we see the judiciary as saints, as infallible, people are above making mistakes.
Reproach.
Can you say the same thing today?
Sadly, no.
When you have a case, and I have several friends who have had such cases up to the highest court in the land, and they were given bills, and when you fail to pay, then you lose the case. So even if there are some of them that have been arrested, some of them in the National Assembly and the leadership, and they have been prosecuted. And moreover, don't forget what former APC chairman Adam Soshomolo said, that when you join APC, your sins are forgiven.
That's it.
So I don't know if the chairman is operating from another country. Because what I only need to do is, in fact, come here, take all your facilities, to do everything, and tomorrow I join APC, and my sins are forgiven.
Doc, if I
know what happened in Delta State,
APC as Calvary.
I mean, Doc, how many?
Let him not talk as if he's outside the country.
How many EFCC chairmen have left unscathed?
Fine, that's what I'm saying.
That's
why I say charity starts at home.
Agreed, they will want to fight back. Yeah. Corruption, they say, fights back. But how many EFCC chairmen? How many investigative panels by the National Assembly have delivered anything to Nigerians? You call people from far and near. At the end of the day, you use taxpayers' money, because of course you will pay hotel bills, you will pay transport bills, you will pay for food, you will do this, you will do that. At the end of the day, is there any investigation that has taken place in the last 25 years in this country that has given us an outcome that Nigerians will say, oh, something actually came out of it. So we have a long way to go.
Doc, why do you think the ESG chairman, apart from populism grandstanding, had need to make this request? Is it because the level of corruption is getting so high that something more drastic needs to be done?
Well, like I said, I commend the move and his statement. Like I also said, I see it as a populist act. You know, most times, one thing I realize in this country is that those that make noise too much are seen as those who are working. And if you are not getting media attention, it will be interpreted that you are not doing anything. But he has more than enough in his hands. Let him successfully prosecute one case. We have seen many of them. Look at Fayose. After all the
noise,
the case was quashed. Why many of them like that?
Is it because of prosecutorial incompetence?
Well, like the former Attorney General said, he said what they do is that once they get a petition, they will come and arrest you and then do all the media publicity before they now start investigation. And you know, they say it's only a blind man, a dead man that you say you want to kill him and he keep quiet.
Because it's already
ordinary chicken, if he is aware that he's going to be killed, will run.
The worst it will flap.
So by the time you arrest me, for example, and then you now say you're doing investigation, that gives me an opportunity with the support of my people to close all the loopholes.
You know,
so it's a problem.
Can we go on lamenting when we all know where the problem is? Corruption, you and I know, can be political. Corruption can be social. Corruption can be economic. What we are looking at here is even economic corruption. Yeah. Don't forget that in this country, less than 10 years ago, an Attorney General of this country was removed unceremoniously so that certain things will give way to certain things. These things are happening all the time.
Even a chief judge.
I mean, look at it. And to answer the question you posed to him, Chief, let's also not forget that it is the dynamics in society that has brought Olukayode to a kind of push out what is going on. There is no saying that yes, corruption is at its height. The current administration is making no nuances about even mentioning it. And hence, it seems we are back to the days of it is business as usual.
I will still remember the Ikoyi billion.
You know, there is so, well, you know, anyway, you understand? So for me, it's the dynamics in society that has brought us to where. But I also hope that it will not consume us someday. Because the unfortunate thing is that the way we are going, I can assure you that we are steering the ship to run aground. And the only way we can set sail is, you know, even if it is the Roxa, maybe high tide may come someday and then push the ship off. But this one we are running aground. And it will get to a point that once we run aground, we will all need to come down from that ship and push it back so that we can set sail. He's only a stupid man, pardon my words, sir, that steals from himself. We live in a country where there is actually so much to go around. If you look at the deplorable state of infrastructure in Nigeria, I mean, every Nigerian will feel bad. You see Prado Jeeps, you see Land Cruiser Jeeps, you see government officials driving in Rolls-Royce cars. I mean, even Dangote, I'm not sure he owns one. I'm not sure he owns one, but here is a government official running on one. You go to the hospitals, there is nothing to write home about, public hospitals in particular. When you see, just travel from Kaduna to Abuja, apart from about the 25 kilometers or so from the Abuja end that was completed before things went bad, the roads are in a terrible state. Akwanga Jos is not any better. Of course, the promise we understand have been made to fix that road, but I'm afraid, look at the agricultural subsector. We're an estimated 200 million people. The level of unemployment in Nigeria is not supposed to be. The agri sector alone, if we decide to develop it, I can assure you that most of those unemployed today can be brought into the net. But here we are looking forward just to come to Abuja at the end of the month, receive government money, go back, change what we can change into dollars, keep for ourselves, and then we think we are governing the people.
No, but Jadu just says something. He says, collect money from the federation account, change some into dollars for ourselves. I find it that very uncomfortable, because just last week, 2 weeks ago in fact, the central bank governor said that the liquidity in the banks, so much cash in the banks, was creating value challenge for the naira and creating monetary instability. And here Jardine is saying that
I mean, sadly,
please help me out.
You see, thank God I've had the benefit of working in the bank, and during my active journalism days, I cover banking, finance, and business. You know, the issue is that I can tell you that what we do in Nigeria is a recycled economic system, which is like what you're saying. It's a recycled economic system. That's where we operate. And what do I mean? Like he said, you go to federation account. Most states wait for that every month. In fact, if it is delayed, the Minister of Finance is put under pressure. Once it is shared, they take it to the states, then call the local government chairman. How much is your salary? So your worker salary in a month. They give them maybe some. They give them 5 million or 10 million extra. Anything you want to do with it. Then the rest they change it, and then within 1 month or two, you hear the governor has traveled abroad on investment drive. If the governor did not travel, somebody, most of them, I'm sorry to say it, have people who are in those days when we used to do masquerade. That's what we call the main masquerade, and that's what we call Otimbu. That small one, the one that we use stick and be beating people. Meanwhile, the big one is in front. So those people will travel abroad or wherever, change it. I can't think of it. Why is it upon what all ESCs have done? Black market still exists.
Driving.
Who is funding the black market? It's these funds. That's why I say it's a recycled economy, and that is why it's difficult to move. And if we may talk about statistics, we have serious infrastructure decay. And going by World Bank estimate, he said we need $100 billion to $150 billion annually for the next up to 2030 to fix our infrastructure problem. And then wasteful expenditure is not just in federal government, but even in the states. Most of the states, total debt, domestic debt of states is almost 6.2 trillion. Domestic states debts. And then we are not talking about loan repayments, obligations, and all that. How many states? Almost Mr. Kankara, the chairman of Nigerian Union of Teachers,
yes,
said about 20 states in Nigeria are yet to implement the minimum wage.
True. That's true.
With regards to local government workers and teachers.
We use that fact here.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
During Obasanjo, the Efcc chairman then said about 12 governors were under investigation. In March this year, this same Oluka
Yes.
said 18 of the 36 state governors are under investigation for one form of crime or other. But then, which state governor, except maybe Dari, which we know there were some issues around, have been found guilty and jailed? And before you know it, they will request for medical treatment abroad, and they go, and that's the end of it. So it's a problem. Like I said earlier, it's an institutional problem, because like Alpha said, these funds, there was a case of a former chief of air staff or naval staff that they found money in his tank farm, and stock away and all that. Where did that money come from? Why is it that each year the military, security agencies are asking for huge sums of money in trillions, and still insecurity
persists?
Banditry persists. Are we sure? Like EFCC chairman said, he said some of these funds are being used to fund terrorism. But then he is in the EFCC. What is the level of collaboration between them, DSS, NSA's office, and all that? Because you see, in Nigeria, we are good at reading out statistics. Look at Benue. Despite president visiting there, it's still ongoing. Is it that it cannot be nipped in the bud? Is it that we don't know those? There are people fueling those things, and they cannot fuel it. They cannot succeed without this so-called unexplained what. Somebody will kidnap somebody, and then they give you an account number to pay in. You pay in that account number. Who has every day is happening? Why has the
Efcc
providers of those accounts, the banks, and other, which bank MD, which bank manager has been arraigned?
I wouldn't know if the NFIU
for receiving the what we call proceeds of crime.
I wouldn't know if the NFIU is still in operation, because once upon a time we are aware of the fact that you have been in that sector.
Yeah.
Every evening, once a particular lodgement goes above board for an individual, even for companies, the EFCC was alerted. We wouldn't know if that is still the case today.
Let me give you an information. On one or two occasions, I visited some banks. I noticed that they give you mutilated money, they give you dirty.
Yes.
So I started asking them, because there is a requirement that any money any naira that is mutilated, you are supposed to
withdraw
take it to CBN.
Yeah.
Then you pay what we call sorting fee.
Okay.
CBN will give you brand new currency.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that I don't think any bank in Nigeria is still doing that thing. What they do is that they receive from Chief Mwabeze, they now use it to pay you. They receive from you, they now use it to pay me, to avoid that paying for the sorting fee. So you can, Chief Mwabeze can bring his 10 billion, they will warehouse it. Then that comes to question the role of NDIC, because the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation has an amount they are to insure in every bank, and once that amount is beyond that, you are supposed to take it to CBN, because if anything happens above the insured deposit, then the bank is on its own.
That's right.
But then that's the problem. Even some of the banks that collapsed, how many of them have successfully paid back
of all they call their customers
the portrait amount that the law allows them to give?
Okay,
so it's a systemic problem.
Gentlemen, the issue we're already tackling is Lukayode's plea to National Assembly. Jardine, you said the bill is dead on arrival.
I said
you also said so.
It died in the National Assembly.
But Lukayode wants to solve a problem. Whether it's grandstanding or whether it's being populist, it's an admission by him that there's a major challenge.
Yeah.
And that major challenge is that people are getting wealth which they cannot account for. I just want us to lead us to Jardine. If we say this bill is dead on arrival, even if we say it is populism, let's accept that what the man has done is to point to an issue for Nigerians. This is a major challenge. How does the society help him? Let's start from the causative factors.
Everybody in Nigeria knows everything. Everybody in Nigeria knows what he is saying. It's not a secret. It's in plain sight. Is what you are seeing is hidden in plain sight. How do society? I love this question, sir. The bottom line is that as a parent, you need to wake up. Go back to your fundamental duties of bringing up well brought up children.
Jack, let me help. I know I'm a grandfather. Listen to me. I'm not going to mention a name, but a former governor on Adamawa State, his son was my second son's classmate. If I mention in which school, it becomes obvious. So we were classmates. That is classmates. His father became a governor, elected as a governor. One day they met here in Abuja, and the young man was driving that year's version of Mercedes-Benz. That year's version. And my son was driving a smoking Joe. And they call him Chai. After all the meeting at Transco and all, I say, Chai, where are you headed to? My son said he was heading home. He said, come, my friend. He pulled something for his car, and what did my son get? $10,000. When my son came back and we're having a conversation.
You said, what kind of father are you?
No, he said, my son said, this your straight path. Keep it straight. That's the language I use my son, my children. Keep it straight. Are you sure you are right? Why have I told this story? There are pressures on children by society. See your classmate now, he's bought himself a Lamborghini, and you are here asking me to give you 5,000 naira to go and patch your tire. Or look at you are here after leaving university, you are here fooling around. Look at Tom's son, who did not even go to university. He's built a house. Wait, Jardine. Somebody becomes a counselor, honorable. Yes, he's bought land in the marketplace, built the biggest stalls, honorable. And that person, speaker, and tells you nobody can be richer than me in this community, openly. How does society help Olukayode? Because it's a problem.
You know how society will help Olukayode, in my opinion? Society needs to come to the realization that we need to stop, we need to have a rethink, we need to go into introspection, knowing fully well that there is a future that probably the current happenstances is negating same. I'll give you a little story, sir. About 17 years ago, a friend of mine bought a Mercedes-Benz for 70 million naira. And when he was about doing that, I told him, I don't think this is right. I told him, even if it's some of these federal government houses that they are selling, why not invest some of that money into those properties? Buy property. He saw me like the son of a poor teacher. In fact, he forgot about, he didn't want to have anything to do with me. But today, it won't be proper I say it on air, but I'll say it. Not too long ago, this same young man will call me and ask me for a recharge card. I'm telling you, it's a fact. It's a fact.
No,
how can society
bad value?
How can society help?
Olukayode.
Let me tell you, Olukayode, we need to give value to life, and it's not flaunting wealth. It's not the car you wear that you drive. It's not the apparel you wear. It's not the kind of house you live in.
Who are flaunting wealth in Nigeria? I just told
the children of those in government, because you don't see Dangote's children doing that.
Very correct.
You don't see Dangote's children
Very
doing
correct.
that. There are people who make money through enterprise, through commerce. You don't see that kind of flaunting of wealth. It's money that was not worked for, that somebody will dip his hands 17 years ago and buy a Mercedes-Benz that today you cannot buy for 5 million naira. You get the point? My point is, how can society help? Society can help the Efcc chair by, I often say this and people laugh. You see, let's go and start from the labor ward. In the labor ward, let's write corruption or stealing, because it's actually stealing.
Yeah.
Stealing will eat your future. As that baby is coming out,
The baby sees it.
let that baby first read that stealing is. Do you understand?
Doc, this is this.
The clergy has a role to play. The teacher has a role to play. If you see a child come to school with something you don't understand, you have a conversation with the parents. We need to go back to the nitty-gritty. We need to teach our children civic education. We need to let them know that we come from a country that is so blessed. But stealing, because it's not corruption, we embellish this thing. We call it corruption. It's actually stealing. And you know, as I said in my earlier remarks, only a stupid man steals from himself.
So we are stealing from ourselves.
We are stealing from ourselves. That's the whole idea. And at the end of the day, as heartbreaking as it is, you see a lot of children end up just on drugs. You see children of the high and mighty, but they cannot actually carry on with the legacy of their parents. Let's even say the parents have a legacy.
The parents have no.
Let's even say they do have
father cannot have a legacy except legacy of theft.
So unfortunately, the future of this big man is terminated because his children cannot carry on. Any man, sir, that works for his wealth will make sure that whatever the children are doing is monitored. But if you don't work for it, if it is money, it's easy go, easy come, easy go kind of thing. It's a multifaceted problem, but we need to start from somewhere.
Now, he says we need, even from the maternity ward. Suppose the woman going to have delivery is the wife of a thief who has stolen public funds, who cannot account for his wealth. Do you think that stealing compromises your future? That, Doc, I mean, this take them when they are being born, when even their father steals. May even be the woman herself steals.
Chief, thank you. First of all, I think we need to be patriotic. We need to think Nigeria first. Most of the people doing this thing, they don't put Nigeria first. Let me ask you a question. Since the return of democracy, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, which senator, which House of Reps member had come to Abuja, served 4 years or 8 years or whatever, and returned to his village? No. They all end up in Abuja. But by the time they came in, they had no house, no accommodation. But you end up, I was once in National Assembly, but as a consultant and as legislative aid to somebody. Immediately they are sworn in, the banks
Swarm them.
they rush on you, giving you loan. A senator from Imo State has served then. They immediately gave the person 100 million naira loan to buy a property in Abuja. That property is in Abuja. The senator is still there today. And then they will tell you, don't worry. What you only need to do is tell the National Assembly that is your account.
Okay.
Then they will be taken. So, which National Assembly member had come to Abuja? After serving here, they are even afraid to go home. They end up here. That is a sign of corruption. But then when you check what is their allowances, how much did they earn compared to the wealth they brandish? We had the issue of Ghana must go. Where did Ghana must go start? Is it not in National Assembly? The issue of third term wasn't it in National Assembly? Have you tried to find out when these National Assembly members go on oversight, what happens there? I'm a consultant to 1 or 2 agencies, and I witnessed what happens. You give the money cash, not. So what I'm saying is that it is there. That's why I say we have an institutional problem. On the other side, as fathers and mothers, uncles and aunties, what kind of culture do we, give to our children, to our brothers and sisters? Why is it that today private universities, private schools are springing up everywhere? No matter how much they charge, you still see people putting their children.
Wards there.
And most of the wards there are children of
legislators, public servants,
even civil servants, even level 12. When I came to Abuja newly in those days, I had a neighbor who was level 12 in Ministry of Interior. He carries a bag. Inside that bag he had almost 12 different companies. And what do? All the prison rations and all those things, they allocate it to themselves. They are the contractors. So when you're talking about unexplained wealth, there are several ways. How many agencies advertise contracts? And even when it is advertised, follow the due process? Sometimes by the time you see it advertised, it's been concluded.
It's been done.
It's been done. So when somebody will tell you, oh, I suffered, I don't want my child to suffer. Are you getting me? In those days, if you come home with something that your parents didn't buy for you, they will ask you a question. My son, where did you bring this from? If there are some friends you bring home, by the time I look at those friends, they'll say, no,
I don't want this.
I don't want you to discontinue your friendship with this person. You get? There was a story of a woman that the son I think sent money, and the woman kept that money somewhere. I told the boy to come home. And when the boy came, he said, this money, I don't know where he got it from. Now you're hearing the issue of Ronsi girls, the issue of all manner of ladies, and they make that money because it's not just in government, even in our different levels. Everybody rushing for wealth, because you are seeing it as a status thing. It is that these days now, if you even want to marry a lady, the first one will ask you, where are you working? How much is your money? How much do you have? What type of car do you drive? So that's the issue. That is a friend that was, you know, almost about getting married to one lady in Abuja here, and that lady was like, you know, playing him. So her friend now told her, why is it you don't want to marry this guy? He said, yesterday I did the lap dance in one club in Wuse 2, and I got 2.2 million. Because when she does lap dance, the children of some of these big men spray her dollars. All you need today to be a millionaire is $600. So that she got 2.2 million. So how will she marry that guy? And who are the people corrupt? Because it's also a form of corruption. Yeah. You just dance and you get 2.2 million. So you and I cannot even be able to marry that girl.
A lot of chief scientists titles.
I think that girl is your daughter. She has you have lost control. Yes. It's just that they want money. You have 5,000. What is 5,000? When she can pass over most of the flats in Wuse 2 in Maitama, have you tried to find out who are those lodging them? They are the girls. Some are paying 3 million, 4 million a year. Where did they get the money from? And who are the ones spoiling them? Check Facebook, check everywhere. So it's a problem. We must go back to the rules. But like I said earlier, Olukayode has more than enough laws. If he could effectively, you know, handle the code of conduct, even though there's a code of conduct tribunal.
Yeah.
All these government officials, if they can make it compulsory that whatever you declare should be published in the newspaper.
Yes.
So that you and I can interrogate and question those things. Let's say there is one building going on in Otako right now. I understand he's a serving minister. He comes there to look at it. Will the presidency say they don't know? That minister has DSS and other people following him. What is their job? Is it not to file reports? Will they say they don't know? How is it that somebody will serve as a minister or a governor? By the time you finish, you are 100 times, even not 500 times richer than where anything, and nobody talks. Why is it that today election is becoming expensive? When you ask when somebody spends hugely to win an election, the first thing he does is to recover.
He needs to recoup.
Why is it that somebody in the National Assembly or in lawmaking, he is not expected to give contract or to do anything, but then the constituent will say, what did you do for us? They will be asking you, as you land, everybody assembles. All your problems, you know, all your problems are with them. So the expectations of the society is so enormous, and most of these people are under pressure
to meet those expectations.
They only have to steal to remain relevant.
Well, to a large extent, they have succeeded in weaponizing poverty.
Yeah.
It's a grand plane, a grand game, because that's the only thing that brings the people back to them. And when people come like that, whatever it is, they try to circumvent.
And they say empowerment. You know, when they
call it empowerment. You know, you give a woman a sewing machine, or you buy Okada and give a young man. Okada, is it a skill? It's momentary.
No, but where is the money coming from? It's keke they are giving now.
Well,
and one keke is about 45 million.
So why is that money coming
from?
Why not industrialize?
You give 20 people keke. How much is your allowance?
No, why not even industrialize? Let's say, why not even industrialize?
And there's nothing wrong in that.
And give them a skill. If they don't have formal education, let them have something informally. Sir, it is so sad. The current realities is that a lot of people cannot afford to send their children to school.
No.
Because you have to stagger school fees. You have to pay this one. And in some instances, the schools are not even showing understanding. Because how much is your salary?
I understand.
Oh, I mean, how much is your salary anyway? You see, the bottom line is that when people talk about, no, we want salary increment, I'm happy for a platform like this. Let me mention this. What we need is not salary increment. What we need is how can we foolproof, how can we overhaul the economy? We need to overhaul this economy so that if your salary is 25,000 naira, your 25,000 naira can take care of the basics of human existence. Because there's no point you're earning. I mean, sir, one shoe today that before you will buy for 40,000 at most is 500,000.
Shoe?
One shoe, sir.
Oh,
if
please,
you want to buy,
please don't send me to the mug. I've never bought a shoe of 20,000.
When you even talk of unexplained wealth, the profits being paraded by banks, how did they make it? What did they do to your banks? It's not industrialization. It's not to fund industries. Go to bank today and apply for a loan. They will not give you. But their banks are now, I was listening to one report last night, the 5 big banks are declaring trillions worth of profits after tax. And one bank chief executive came up and said there was nothing wrong. In fact, that is not up to what one bank in South Africa does. What are they doing? What economic activity are they involved in? So when you say unexplained wealth, I don't know whether you get the kind of alert I get, because the kind of debit alert I get, some you don't even get the debit. Just check your app, you will not see being deducted. Some banks will notify you. Some are so crafty, you will not see it. But mind you, one let's say 100 naira they take from you and take it from 100 people, 100 million people, or 10 million people, multiply it. One bank I think made about 200 billion from the deductions, maintenance, card handling, transfer, POS, severally. Is that not part of unexplained wealth?
It is.
Well, so let us not just look at government officials. Some schools, sorry sir, some schools have also started
joined it,
knowing that you and I have money. If I can pay 3.5 million, 6 million for a secondary school child, why will I not pay for the child graduating from kindergarten to nursery?
It's actually.
Why will I not pay for that child graduating from nursery to primary? Then the child will also graduate from primary to JS. And the worst thing is that students are now graduating from JS3 to SS1 in the same school. And we parents are willing, paying. The one my son goes by, I think, first term, you will pay for Christmas, end of year Christmas party. Second term, I think they say you pay for Easter. Then the third time you pay for end of year. So they're also devising means
of getting their own share of the booty.
Of getting the 10.
That is also gentlemen, I must thank you very much for this lively conversation. My worry is that Olukayode, please, if you are grandstanding, don't grandstand. It's not necessary. My colleagues say there are enough laws to honestly tackle Nigeria's corruption challenge. That there are enough laws. And they are pointing at certain things. Each chairman of the Efcc left that job in controversial circumstance. Why? Accused of things being the hunted in a game that he was supposed to be the hunter. NNPC, each group general manager that leaves is said to have stolen trillions. After the media drama, well, they themselves will say all is well that ends well. For them, it has ended well. A legislator comes to Abuja and his economy changes completely. Now his wealth, his monies are denominated in millions. Billions mean nothing in Nigeria today. Nothing. Retired civil servants own most of the property in Abuja. Did you hear this one now?
Even serving what?
A serving minister is building a multi-story structure and comes there to inspect it. There's a way it's and then what value are we handing over? We pursue the 419ers. I just sang a song to Doc. If you know get money, hide your face. It's becoming from politicians to even priests. Our priests now preach prosperity. The Lord has shown to me now somebody whose account will improve by 10 million at the end of this month. If you know it is you, claim it by faith. Absolute deception. What do? my colleagues say, let's go back to the family. Let the cleric know that he owes a duty to our tomorrow as much as our today. The thief is sitting in front of the mat during prayer time, in front of the pew, and you raise your hands to bless him. And the young boy at the back, who knew him, who was a pauper before he stole, watches as he's being blessed, and the young man wants to be blessed subsequently, so he goes to steal too. You caused it. You led him into temptation. Look at it. Thank you for making your demand, but my colleagues say demand that's already dead on arrival, because those there have not come to equity with the clean hands. What kind of judgment will they deliver? That's our edition for today. Our next edition, we're raising a question between creation of more states and running this country on zonal basis. Which is better? People are asking for more states. Others are saying, let's create zones so that we can reduce the number of bureaucracies we have and number of lost heads and the number of corruption centers. But that will be the next edition. For now, let me thank Jagdeen Alpha, a media consultant, for coming to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
And Dr. Obinna Nwachukwu, Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief of Montage Africa Media Limited. Doc?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm grateful.
And that's our edition for today. Let's meet you again next time. I'm Waboze Njoko. Good morning.